do our Q1 and our Q2, we want our essays to read like we are having a discussion about the piece itself. So it's important for you to break down the piece as you read through it. And then when you write your essay, you're writing your essay chronologically. Got it? You are not separating your paragraphs into like device paragraphs. You are writing chronologically. So that's how we break down our poems. We go chronologically. Prompt. Carefully read all of Senior's 2005 poem, Plants. Then, in a well-organized essay, analyze how the poet portrays the complex relationships among the speaker, the implied audience, and plant life. You may wish to consider the author's use of literary techniques, such as syntax, diction, and figurative language. Okay, so we want to look at the relationship between the speaker, the implied audience, and the plant life. So we need to figure out, like, who is the speaker, who is the implied audience, what's going on there. And we need to say how that relationship is shown through those techniques. Okay. In the new prompt, the way they are now going to phrase everything, they don't list techniques for you. So you'll have to think about what techniques to use. This is good, because sometimes they list techniques that people don't know how to use. Like they might say, form. I have yet to meet a student who can really like analyze form very well. Analyzing form is really difficult. A lot of times people are like, it rhymes. Like, and that's it. So, you know, most people, it's very hard to understand the really like rhyme and meter, and it can be pretty difficult at times. So I usually encourage people to like, unless the form is jumping out at you, you don't talk about form, right? But very easy to talk about, always, figurative language. You can talk about point of view. You can always talk about, again, syntax and diction, right? That word choice and the sentence structure, how it's formulated. Okay, so plants. All right, plants are deceptive. You see them there looking as if once rooted, they know their places. Not like animals, like us, always running around, leaving traces. All right, plants are deceptive. Like, right off the bat, it's like, okay, so they're spies. They look as if once rooted, they know their places, not like animals, like us, always running around, leaving traces. So we know that our speaker is doing like an us versus them here, right? Plants versus animals, which human beings fall in that category. So if we see them looking like they're rooted, but they're deceptive, what does that mean? Are they in fact rooted? Do they in fact stay where they are? No, not necessarily. Any of you who have been made to pull weeds in your parents' garden know that. Yet, from the way they breathe, excuse me, like, oh, look at that. Like, the use of the parentheses and the exclamation point, like, ooh, sex. It's like plant sex. It's like, the like, they're dirty. Like those scandalous plants. Oh my God. Yet from the way they breed and twine, from their exhibitionist, like there's some kind of like stripper, show up plants, and rather prolific nature. If you are prolific, you make a lot. So if you're a prolific writer, like Stephen King, for example, he writes things all the time. Like he's like probably the most prolific writer I can name. But then if plants are being prolific, they're making a lot more plants. We must infer a sinister being evil. You all know that from the movie. Not to say imperialistic grand design. Anybody, when they see imperialistic, automatically think Star Wars? The Imperial Army? That's what I think. No? When things are imperialistic, Positive or negative now? What's the implication of imperialism? Negative. We talked all about that when we did Heart of Darkness. So if the plants are imperialistic, what does that mean? They take over. Do they care about what's there before? And they don't care about anything except proliferating. Making other plants. Perhaps you've regarded as beneath your notice armies of mangrove on the march, roots in the air, clinging tendrils anchoring themselves everywhere. Have any of you ever seen a plant? I mean, probably not a mangrove, because that's subtropical. But have any of you ever seen a plant that's just like taking over all over the place? Mm-hmm. Jasmine bushes and jasmine trees, they have the little white star flowers. Those things like will pull pieces off your house. They like intertwine into everything. So have you ever regarded as beneath your notice? Do we really notice how bad plants are getting? No. We dismiss them. But then what happens? We think that's not a problem, and then all of a sudden, your plumbing doesn't work, and you call a plumber, and you have to spend thousands of dollars to get your plumbing fixed because, like, that tree just took over your plumbing. But you just think, oh yeah, it's a plant. It's pretty. Or it's a plant. It's, you know, harmless. And then you really find out, like, no, those things are, like, messed up. Like, whatever is around them. The world is full of shoots bent on conquest. Invasive seedlings seeking wide open spaces. Material gathered for explosive dispersal in capsules and seed cases. I think that sounds so pretty, but at the same time, it's an invasion. The world is full of this doing that, this doing that, this doing that. What technique are we looking at here? Yeah, we have parallel structure, right? That's where we're talking about the syntax, right? There are all these plant pieces, shoots, invasive seedlings, and then material, which I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm guessing it's like they're fluff. Like you know, like when you have a dandelion. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm guessing it's that stuff. Gathered for explosive dispersal in capsules. Look, conquest, seeking wide open spaces, explosive dispersal. It's like they want to go on a big army battlefield. Maybe you haven't quite taken in the colonizing ambitions of hitchhiking birds on your sweater. Surf-riding nuts bobbing in on ocean, parachuting seeds, and other airborne traffic dropping in. Do you see that, like, kind of like army, like, takeover continuing, right? You have them colonizing of the birds, right? The nuts that are bobbing in the ocean, the parachuting seeds, and other airborne traffic dropping in. And what about those special agents called flowers? Dressed, perfumed, and made up for romancing insects, bats, birds, bees, even you. What? Those are some James Bond flowers right there. Right? Do we notice any of these things? Sometimes, but a lot of them go past our notice. That's why they are deceptive. That's why they are sneaky. Plants have this design, this mission, but we don't pay attention. We write it off. Don't deny it, my dear. I've seen you sniff and exclaim, Believe me, innocent, that sweet fruit, that berry, is nothing more than an ovary, the instrument to seduce you into scattering plant progeny. Again, those sexy plants. Oh my goodness. Right? It is seducing you. Have you ever heard, I'm probably going to spell this wrong, sorry video, of Mata Hari? She was a female spy that like seduced a lot of like war secrets out of people. And that's what I think of here. I mean, think about it. If you're eating papayas, you open up a papaya, they're smooth, they're tasty, they're sweet. But right in the middle, what is all of that? The seeds. And then what do? You just throw the seeds out. Or you throw the seeds away. And then guess what? They spread. They grow possibly. Part of a vast cosmic program that once set in motion cannot be undone, though we become plant food and earth winds down. Wait. We become plant food. How do we become plant food? We die. So plants continue with their cosmic program regardless of what we are doing. And we just unwittingly help out plants. They'll outlast us. They were always there one step ahead of us. Plants gone to seed, generating the original profligate, extravagant, reckless, improvident weed. So, what would you say is the author's tone? Does she hate plants? Somebody raise their hand. What would you say her tone is? How does the speaker feel about plants? What is the relationship of the speaker to plants? The speaker feels what about plants? Throw out some tone words for me, people. Come on. Alarmed? The speaker is worried about plants? Cautious about plants? Concerned? Possibly a little sarcastic, a little like almost over the top about how sneaky they are? Is there a little bit of admiration for plants here?
Yes.
So, the speaker expresses admiration for what about plants? Well, not just their beauty, it's not their beauty. They're deceptive there. Why are they deceptive? What is the point of the plant? What is the plant's goal?
To spread.
Spread, to grow. And the plant does that without us, and in spite of us, and underneath us, right? The plants are deceptive, and plants are smarter than us. Plants, and you could say that she is an admiration for the, how would we say it? For the life. The speaker shows an admiration for the ability of plants to continue on regardless of the situation. Yeah, almost envious, right? Okay. So what would you say, who is the implied audience? Humans. So why is she she telling us this about plants? What am I supposed to do if I read this about plants? If I read this about plants, what you guys are gonna go walk outside into the park now, and you're gonna look and be like, should the implied audience be wary of plants?
Yes.
Maybe the implied audience should notice the plants more and should be ready to act if necessary. All right. Now my question. You can do the straight read. This is about plants. But you can also put it symbolic and extend it. What is that sophistication point? How do we extend this? Is there anything else that's insidious, like the way plant life is? People? What kind of people are insidious?
Like the people that want to take over.
The people that want to take over, right? That plant life is insidious, is deceptive, in order to achieve its goal of propagating, growing larger. You know, and much like, and we, as a society, should notice what is going on here. Respect it, and curb it as necessary. Don't just let that jasmine bush get crazy, because then you're going to be in a world of hurt. But very similarly, with groups of people there are groups of people who can be insidious and deceptive, that if you are not careful, will become a problem. See what I mean? Question? A lot of plants. You wanna go weed my garden?